Hi guys. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to stop shouting at your children and hopefully as a bonus, how to stop your children shouting back at you. Okay, let's face it, we've all been there, we've had a really difficult day, it's been really long, we get to the end, and that's the exact point that our child decides to test our patience to the absolute limit. And so we shout at them, and then they either shout right back at us, or they cry, and either way, we feel terrible afterwards. None of us are perfect. Perfect doesn't exist. All we're doing as parents is trying the best that we can. So here's the reason why. In that moment, our sympathetic nervous system kicks in. We're in that fight, flight, or freeze mode. And it's difficult for us or our child to get any kind of rational thought back at that point. Our primal brains have definitely taken over. So what can we do about it? The solution is really simple. We just have to breathe.
Gonna pop.
Breathe. Just breathe.
I know, boring, but stick with me. When we breathe out for longer than when we breathe in, it triggers our parasympathetic nervous system, and so it helps calm us down. There are lots of specific breathing patterns out there that you can try, but all of them are based on the same premise. Breathe out for longer than you breathe in, and it will relax you. Now, if we want to test this, we can have a practice. If you pause the video in a second and then take 20 short in and out breaths really, really quickly, what you'll notice is at the end of that, because you've been hyperventilating, your heart rate will go up and your stress levels will go up with them. Okay, if you tried that, now let's try the reverse. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause the video again, but this time you're going to take 10 really slow breaths. What you're going to try and do is breathe in gently and then breathe out for longer than you've breathed in. If you can, try and breathe in through your belly and not through your chest. And how long you breathe in and out for doesn't really matter, as long as the out breath is longer than the in breath. So if you want a visual demonstration of this, I've borrowed this ball off my wife, who's a hypnobirthing teacher. The general idea with the breathing is that you breathe in slowly into your diaphragm, so into your tummy, and it expands out. And as you breathe out, you gently breathe through and your diaphragm contracts to push the air out. Okay, so that's the basic premise, but how do we implement that so it becomes a habit? So it's a natural response, so we don't forget about it and we can access it in the moment when we need it the most. It's practice, and here's where it gets really good. If you practice with your child, then your child will also have access to these skills, to these tools to help them calm down if they ever get stressed out. What a gift to give your child. The ability to work through their emotions in an appropriate way by using this technique. So here's the 3 steps to making this work. So number 1 is practice when you don't need it, so it's available when you do. It's important to not just throw this trick out in the middle of the latest argument about what colour socks they're wearing, or whether or not you chose the wrong spoon for the yogurt, or the colour of the cup that they got at dinner. I recommend just implementing it during the day sometimes. Maybe have a routine where at the end of the day, you always do 10 really deep, relaxing breaths just before bed. Number 2 is to demonstrate the behaviour. Children are like sponges. They literally absorb everything around them. Your behaviour impacts the way that they behave. So we really need to model the way that we want them to react. If we shout at them when we get angry, then that's exactly what they're going to do back to us. So if they see you getting frustrated, but then they also see you taking a moment and taking some breaths, and you explain to them what you're doing in that moment, then they'll see that that's the behavioural pattern that they can also follow. So what I like to do is take myself slightly out of the situation. So not walking away completely, but just removing myself from the exact place that I'm at. And before I do that, I explain to my child, I'm getting really frustrated. I'm going to go to X and take some breaths. I always make sure that it's inclusive. I let him know that if he wants to come and sit with me and also take some breaths, then he can. He's not being excluded, he's not being punished, I'm not ignoring him, I'm just taking myself away because I feel like I need to calm down. And number 3, which is probably the one that I use the most, is to make it fun. So the only real thing that you need to do in order to make this work with your kids, to get them to breathe out for longer than they breathe in for. And you can do this in lots of ways. So we make funny noises on the out breath, we blow raspberries on the out breath, anything to slow that breathing pattern down and make sure that they're conscious and aware of their breathing. I've also heard of some other techniques like butterfly breaths, where as you're breathing in and out, you wave your arms up and down like a butterfly, or dragon breaths, where they take a deep breath in and then they have to breathe out as if they're blowing fire like a dragon. There are so many different ways to be creative and make sure that you and your child are able to access these breathing techniques when you really need them. And then there is one final tip that I learned from an Andrew Huberman podcast. There's this special kind of breath called a physiological sigh. And the way that you do that is you take a deep breath in, normally through your nose, and then a second breath in through your nose, and then a long, deep exhale through your mouth. So it goes something like, and apparently we do this in deep sleep, but it is also apparently the most effective way of calming us down very quickly. So if all else is lost and you don't feel like doing 10 calming breaths is even in your range at the moment because you're so frustrated and your child is so frustrated, a couple of these might be all it takes just to take you from that place of high alert fight mode into a more calm and understanding place where everything will make a lot more sense and you'll be able to negotiate and talk to your child in a way that they will be able to respond to. And that's it. Let me know in the comments if you've tried this or if you're going to try it, and any funny noises that you or your child may have come up with that everybody else can share in. And also, please make sure that you try and support everybody else in the comments. We're all going through the same difficult journey as parents. None of us are perfect. There's this idea of trying to get to 70%. If 70% of your parenting is the way that you would like, then that's a really good ratio. Because we're humans as well, and we all have flaws. We all have easy and difficult days as parents. I find that one thing that's really helpful is talking to other people and hearing other people's stories and knowing that I'm not alone. As always, if you like this content, please give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing for more interesting things like this in the future. Thanks for watching.